Weather and climate are amongst the most influential forces on Earth. Climate influences where and how we choose to live, while weather determines what we do, where we go, and what we wear each day. I learned in this lesson what is weather and climate and how they are different. Weather refers to the atmospheric conditions to the specific area and time. It changes from minute to minute, day to day, and season to season. A weather may be cloudy, windy, sunny, rainy, stormy, and many more. While climate, it refers to the typical weather in a region for a long period of time. It is predetermined by the scientists before it actually happens. Like for instance, the Philippines has a climate of warm and humid, but we cannot exactly tell what will be the weather for the whole year because it changes from time to time. I also learned how climate affects the type and growth of vegetation and wildlife in a particular region. Just like the penguins and polar bears, they live in a country or region that has a polar climate because they may not be able to survive if it's not. The same with the fruit strawberry. You can find it in a places or region that has a cold climate like Baguio City because they may not be able to grow well if you planted it in a region that has a hot climate. I also learned that the climate of a particular region or country depend on its latitude. If the place is located far from the equator, it receives less sunlight. And if the place is located close to the equator, they receive more sunlight. Climate also depends on oceans and bodies of water, because they have the ability to absorb, store, and transport heat from the sun. Climate also depends on mountains, altitude, and biosphere. Areas with a lot of mountains has a cold climate because it blocks the flow of air masses, while the altitude refers how high one above the sea level, and the higher the elevation, the colder the temperature is. It also depends on biosphere, or the global ecosystem where the organisms live. I also learned what are those types of climate, and these are the tropical, temperate, and polar climate. Tropical climate is characterized by a hot temperature all year long, and it can be classified into dry and wet seasons. Countries that have tropical climate include Philippines, Mexico, and Singapore. Temperate climate is not as hot as the tropical and milder than the polar climate. Countries that have temperate climate includes Argentina, South Africa, and Portugal. Meanwhile, the polar climate is very cold, snowy, and windy. Countries that have this kind of climate is Alaska, Canada, and Denmark. I also learned that climate is what we expect. If we go to places like Baguio City, it is expected that the climate there is cold. While weather is what we get. We can just only tell that the weather for today is cloudy or not if it happens, since it changes from time to time. Climate also tells us what clothes to buy since it is expected, while weather will tell us what clothes to wear, and we match our outfit based on the weather.